September 12th meeting to order. The first item or the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the August 8th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the minutes?
Should we wait for Joanne?
Possibly,
That's what
You should see.
Yes, we
Has
should.
has she come in?
not yet.
Yeah.
You'll see on the screen when she comes in. That's why I leave that window open. You can always return to it.
Yes.
Okay, we'll return to it. We'll go up to number 3, correspondence. We did have a nice article. I put the link in it, and I'm sure you can put it up if anybody's so inclined about generally about mill development and
Yeah, I can find it. I'm sure it's
Is
still in my
Joanne?
email. Yeah, Joanne's in now. Let me just see what I did with it.
Would it be in her email?
Well, it's in my email, but I move stuff around in folders, so I just have to. That one. It's this one. Press.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm looking for a link.
Yeah, it didn't work. I had to cut and paste it. It's every time I have trouble.
No, I just found it. So now I just have to screen share it. Everything is multiple steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to get in, so shut up. Oh, except I can't because it's behind a paywall. So we can't look at it.
okay, well, it was an interesting article about the mills and the Panema mill and developer who I think might be working with Robert. So actually, why don't you tell us about it, Robert? You send it over.
Yeah, so it was a very impressive article. It's a Connecticut Insider did a piece, talking about, there's several thousand apartments and condominiums and whatnot that are, presented in mills all over the state. And, my partner, Joe Malone, I call him the legendary Joe Malone. He's been doing this for 40 years now. Him and I are working on other projects throughout the state, the mill project in London. And, I'm gonna be bringing him here to town to look at some of the other historic. So, but anyway, he was, featured in the article, and he's got me interested in the historic buildings, historic sites and all that. It's a pleasure working with somebody like that because, it's just somebody that's a mentor that is teaching me. I'm more of a market rate guy, as far as retail, residential, things like that. In my corner is big. No, him and I are not working together on 630 Riverside, although he is coming in more as like a consultant on that. But we're looking at some other buildings and so, yeah, it's a really interesting article. I think everybody should think it's a good read.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's a good read. It lists a lot of the, the numbers and all, how many units have just been demoed, preserving the history. And
Yeah.
so it's a good article.
It's amazing to just think of contamination, of these sites and just convert them into, into units, and they're beautiful. I mean, it's the lofts that come up, they're amazing.
Thompson did also get a specific shout out near the end of the article. They were quoting Renee Tribert, who's from Preservation CT, and she was mentioning some of the projects that are on the horizon for that kind of revitalization. So she did call out the River Mill because Renee's been waiting anxiously to see River Mill move forward. I should point out, by the way, and I didn't send this to the committee, but I should have. A few weeks ago, I was sent a copy. I think it was in Connecticut Mirror, not Connecticut Insider. I have some casual colleagues on the western part of the state who've been working very hard on the legislation to eliminate parking mandates. And in an article in Connecticut Mirror, they shouted out towns that have successfully eliminated parking mandates, and that included Hartford and Thompson. So that was sort of some nice, just some nice unearned media, really. It's not like I had solicited that, but they made a point of sending it to me. So that was nice.
Right?
Yeah, Renee's been a big advocate of, bounce a lot of sites off her. Because what happens is with the historic, buildings, with the development, we can get historic tax credits. So that helps us out tremendously because these things are, with inflation and all that, it's super expensive to get these things off the ground and get them pencil out. So she's been a big advocate. I can call her on the phone and say, hey, what about this building? What about that building? And she gives me the idea if we can have a shot to get with SHPO and, figure out if we can get on the historic state federal registry. So works out pretty well.
Renee
She's
used to
been
be,
awesome.
she used to be on the Eastern Connecticut Land Bank. She resigned a couple of years ago because she just couldn't balance the commitments. But yeah, she is a huge advocate for reclaiming, repurposing historic properties, which is her specific interest at Preservation CT, but also revitalizing brownfields. So she's a great ally to have in your pocket.
Right, so why don't we, since we were waiting for you, Joanne, to approve the minutes. So we had a motion on the floor that was seconded and we were just having comments, if anybody had any comments on the minutes.
Oh, I put her on mute. Hold on, because she had background noise. Let me take her off. Joanne, you have to unmute yourself because I had to mute you. If you're on your phone, it's *6.
Nope, I'm all set. Yes, I looked at the minutes and they look terrific. Thank you for waiting for my approval.
You're welcome. So I guess then we can vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from the August 8th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're up to item 4 on our agenda, citizens' comments. See, we do have some citizens in the room. Do they have any questions, comments?
If I may, please.
Sure.
To go back to the August meeting, what I said, and I was just talking to this gentleman, and I'm gonna say it again, I'm in favor of the condo project, but he knows my concern about the contamination that is there. So, and from what he has told me, that he's going through the proper steps, because I have worked on super slum sites and other sites in Connecticut that required, we would have to be trained. So if he does that, he can get help from a few companies, I think are still in business that does it, but that's his choice. But I'm in favor of the condo going in, the condos, not apartments. I tell them, I had 2 people come up to me the other day, and one of them got into a heated argument. I looked at him and I just told him, you better back down, because this is a good project. It's in the right place. So as long as he does his due diligence, we're gonna go with it. I hope you accept that. So, and like I said, I also know a company that will be willing to buy the red bricks from you, so you don't have to do a cleanup.
All the help I can get.
Well, that's the key. That's the key.
Absolutely.
Thanks for those comments. Is any further comments? And I guess we will move on to agenda item number 5, committee business. First thing is the Community Investment Fund grant projects, Main Street reconstruction. Sarah and I did get an email from Tristan, and basically the plan, we're waiting on DOT still for them to approve the intersection redesign. Sharp corner at Riverside Drive, and he said he would, start reminding them and start nudging them to move along. So yeah, he's not with us on Zoom because there really isn't an update.
Yeah. And I emailed DECD twice this week for an update. Same response, legal has it. So, and it's not impossible that DOT is not hurrying because the contract isn't final, even though we can demonstrate proof of funding. It's just how these things go, but it is all in process.
Okay. They're notoriously slow. They take 6 weeks to do one residential. The redesign of an intersection, so. Okay, so Swanson Park, I would guess I would presume,
Same,
he didn't mention any updates on Swanson Park.
yeah,
did he?
same.
Okay, so it's all, obviously it's all part of the same bid package. So 65 Main Street, Tira has a draft RFP. I'm not sure if that was included in the agenda or.
Well, I had
Yeah.
sent it to Steve and Brian Santos to look
Okay.
over, because I wrote it up. I just adapted the first one. Looked fine to you, nothing stood out to you?
Just want to make sure. Structural complaint. Building or office.
Okay, yeah.
Resident. Oh, the energy. You know, that's the best.
Well, I will say it is just building off the existing plans that we have, which are everything up through mechanicals for the whole building, but just no finish plan for floors 2 and 3. So I don't think that will be a factor, but if you do get a chance to take a look at it and just make sure, because I think I sent the plan set with it too. If I didn't, I can't.
Attachments?
I think I sent the,
Yeah.
yeah,
The attachments.
yeah. So as long as that looks kosher to the actual architect on the committee and to my man in construction, Santos, then what I can do while we're waiting for DECD to finalize the contract is I can send it to DECD's engineer, because they have to approve all bid documents before they can be posted. So I can queue that stuff up to go out to bid. Because that is included in the SIF grant funds, is the money to complete the design, and obviously then the rest of the renovation. So that was, that's the SIF piece for 65. And I think most of you, if not all of you, were on the email that I sent out earlier this week with the update from the site plan stuff. Yeah, so I have final landscaping site designs from Barton and LaJudas. And bid documents. The bid documents are 250 pages long. Crazy. But they're they're beautiful plans, and I do have those if anybody wants to look at them just for fun on a Friday morning. But at whatever time we're able to secure funding for the construction and implementation here, we'll be ready to go. Still hoping on the congressional appropriation, but I mean, the national climate is what it is. The chances that Connecticut gets any love from the federal government right now are very low, but we'll see. And if not, I'll pursue some other option. But it also means that I can close finally the USDA grant as soon as I include the RFP for the architecture. That's my last component. So if I can get that in the next, within the next week into the document, we're good to go. So that's the 65 Main update.
Yeah, and there was a link in the agenda, so I do encourage you guys to go look at the plans that were developed. They're I spent quite a bit of time looking at them. I think they're like way more practical than the original permaculture consultant. I mean, the permaculture consultant was like, a conceptual big picture guy, but like to get it into something that's practical and that can actually be constructed and stuff. That's the landscape architect plans. I think they really accomplished that. And the one thing that I really liked was that the ramp down from
I can pull 'em up.
65 Main down to the bottom lamps is like a 5% row. So that for emergency vehicles or any kind of like equipment that would have to go down there, or anything that would require getting from the top to the bottom.
Yes, I'll comment too, Sarah. So,
Yeah, I thought I had pulled them up. Joanne, I'm gonna toss you on mute again, just because we've got background noise. I don't know what I did with them. I had them.
Well, it's okay. I mean, everybody has a link to them. I tested the link, so you guys, anybody can look at them. So I guess we can move on to 5B, 630 Riverside Drive.
Yes. Thank you. So, yeah, Robert Letskis from Refined Living and Refined Northeast. Good news, we got accepted into the Brownfield Liability Relief Program. The state had 90 days. They must have really liked the application. They approved it in less than 2 months. So that's a huge step and it's a pivotal part of the development. So basically what that means is I am inserting myself into the fire. So I am inserting myself into basically taking over the responsibility of the environmental contamination on the site. Once I take title, that is. So I had a really good conversation with the existing owner yesterday, as a matter of fact, because, you know, I communicated with him, just kind of giving him the idea of what's going on. He's been really receptive to, which is huge, because, you know, I from the history, I guess it's been a little bit of dragged out with other projects, but with this one, he's looking forward to me getting title as quickly as possible, which is huge. And you know, this is going to be a really good project. To mention what you had talked about apartments, we're going with condominiums.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're going to mentality.
Exactly, right. So, you know, we're looking to do home ownership here. 1 and 2 bedroom condominiums. I have a structural engineer that's already putting the plans together for them. I've already got floor plans and elevations of what I believe that we want to start putting here. We also are doing, my plans have 12 retail spaces too, which they're going to be like boutique though. They're nothing like over the top, nothing like Dollar General or anything like that. I'm talking like small, you know, small business, small boutique areas with a green, with them circulating around a green. So what we're doing, and also there's a part of the property that is in the flood zone, which I have the map here, but I mean, I wish I put it up there, but you know, I don't have the ability to do that with this, but I'll show you everybody. So part of the property is in a flood zone and has wetlands, as we discussed in the last meeting. There is a way to bring in fill to bring it out of the flood zone, but with my concept and what I'm going with, we're thinking more of an agricultural spin on this, as we talked about before, where in the back of the property, we would be doing, you know, potentially, I'm not a farm to table type of guy, so I don't have any experience in that. But if we can bring in someone to do that kind of like an agricultural business in that area, would really benefit the project tremendously. So a lot of stuff going on, exciting. Looking forward to getting this thing done. And the thing is too, you know, looking to do this in phases. So as soon as I pull title, I'm gonna start, you know, maybe start clearing some of it, start kind of getting it and bringing it back to life and start looking better. You know what I mean? So this is something that needs to be done. When you look at this site, and I just look at pictures like almost every day now, and I just see these piles of rubble, and you know, you drive through like the other areas of town where like all the water is, and it's so beautiful, and then you drive here, and it's like, oh. So look, I just want to get the shovel on the ground like yesterday, to be honest with you. So we're on it, and your support is awesome. The more support we have, the better. So I'm open to ideas and suggestions, and you know, I'm not this big ego guy coming in here just saying, oh, my way to highway. I want to talk, you know what I mean? We're here, and I'm here every month, and I'm also on EDC, you know, to try to, you know, come up with some ideas and maybe some businesses that maybe people want to see, you know, maybe, you know, maybe like a butcher, or maybe, I don't know where the women get their hair and nails done, but I know it's not here in Thompson, because I driven by and I haven't seen anything happen. So
It's here.
With
A lot of home business.
yeah, a lot of home businesses, yeah. I'm talking about like, how about for groceries? Where's
Groceries
Just
a
the
whole
market.
different conversation, but
yeah,
yeah.
We had
Anyway.
a grocery store and.
I would-
long time.
I'm from out of town, but I've been here a lot. So, and I'm here a bit, almost. I would say once every couple weeks I'm in town, so. I'm all ears and suggestions, and I know that we have a presentation that we need to do in late September, early October.
You're right. So that's the other piece of this on the agenda. We are going to do a public presentation in the next few weeks. It's bouncing between two dates right now. It's either going to be Wednesday, the 24th of September or Wednesday, the 1st of October. And that is dependent on something the first selectman is trying to work out, if there is potentially also going to be a presentation on the fire districts. It's looking like there is not going to be a presentation on the fire districts because it does not look like the departments have completed their end of it, but I can't say that conclusively, and Amy said she wouldn't know till next week. Quite frankly, October 1st would be way better for me.
Say that as far as promoting, I mean, and if you do something too short notice, you're not able to promote it the way you should be.
It's not like we haven't done it before, and we can do it here if we have to, but it is going to be one of those two dates. The other reason, having nothing to do with anything except me, that week is bad is because I'm going to be in Hartford, not in the office all week that week, getting my certification for CDBG grants renewed. So if we have to do it on the 24th, I'm going to be driving back from Hartford, like the prep time is terrible. So I'm really hoping for October 1st.
Right? Under 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Doesn't
we've
make
done it.
sense. You haven't even made a decision
Yeah,
yet. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
So I'm very hopeful that it's going to be the 1st. Now, the purpose of the presentation is obviously the presentation itself, introducing the project to the community in a more open forum way, getting whatever renderings we have, having Tim, Roberts LEP, my colleague from the land bank, talk about the nature of the site contamination, all the things we've done. What's
So
the
we've done with the other.
just like what we've done with the other mill. What's the economic impact? What's the need? What's the, like, all the things. So in terms of creating the presentation, I have templates for that and we can do it. Robert and I will work on sort of the stagecraft of it a little bit, starting today, probably. But the secondary purpose of that is, I think you guys know, because I believe we've discussed it, in order for Robert to be able to take title because of the existence of a lien to a bank that went out of business, it can only be accomplished through a friendly foreclosure. He can't do that unless we sell to him our tax lien, just like we did with Gumpert. Now, Gumpert opted not to foreclose, but he didn't have to. In this case, it has to be through a foreclosure. And that has to be done at town meeting, which means all of that stuff that we have to do to make sure that important things pass at town meeting have to be done. Making sure people are in the room who are supportive of the project, because anytime anybody is against something, they come out and they are loud about it. And sometimes loud people can be persuasive, right? So our job, all of us, is to make sure that will happen. And that is going to be the following week, if it's the 1st. I have the 9th written in my book, which is a Thursday. It's possible that that's the 8th. And again, I have to settle that with Amy, what that actual date is. But that's the timeline we're looking at, 2-3 weeks, end of September into early October, where we're going to be really pushing this project. That'll mean things like me working with local press, maybe trying to get a Winnie spot if I can swing one, doing a presser for the Villager, which means we have to discuss what it is that you want me to be able to send to them of those renderings. So that is our short-term task.
The October 8th meeting, that's
That would be a town
the
meeting.
town meeting.
Right. So presentation followed by a town meeting to vote. And that town meeting will have either one or two things on it, depending on this fire district thing.
Which I'm nervous about putting them together.
I am too, but
We
our
know how
timelines are,
our fire districts tend to be.
yeah.
That's going to be a meeting upon itself.
It should
Thank
be.
you.
Well, the presentation is, but I don't think the town meeting is. Although if the timeline isn't working to get it in the short term, that's actually to our benefit. So I am hoping fire district pushes out.
Uh,
I guess can't that be a decisive decision by our Board of Selectmen? It doesn't have to be, I'm hoping. Wouldn't it be, we do two back to back,
we don't want to sabotage the project or
either one.
Right,
your
Right.
project is gonna get a lot of pushback because they're gonna think it's all low income, et cetera. And as we know.
As
that
we
false
know.
Information is gonna come out.
Right.
Then you're gonna get into the weeds with the fire district
Right.
and that is gonna be pros and cons and a lot of discussion.
I appreciate it.
And putting both of those together is not in our best interest.
I agree. The question is, how is because I'm not involved in the process on that side. I don't know how it's playing out. It sounds to me, based on my conversations with Amy, she couldn't be here today because of a conflict, that the fire departments aren't ready. So for me, that's good. I think this select board wanted to make that a piece of their legacy, but that might be something that pushes to the next select board.
And we need to get it right.
I agree.
That's all.
I agree.
Just get it right.
It's not one risking it.
I agree. I agree. But this is another thing.
No, like,
Yeah, this is another thing that I would like to occur under the existing select board, right? Because they're already familiar.
makes it easier.
Makes
So
it
much
easy.
familiarity, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Right, so, this and River Mill are two big things that before the three incumbents leave office, there's some things I want wrapped. Because it will make it easier for the incoming three, whomever they happen to be. And also that incoming three will not be on the back foot against any pushback from the community, because when you're new, you're vulnerable to that.
Right.
Right, in a way that when you're an incumbent, you are not. So, that's the give and take. So this is what I'm doing for the next 2.5 months, is the 2 or 3 big development projects and ensuring that they are safe from mischief.
Well, I like Renee's sentiment, though. Can we make a suggestion to the Board of Selectmen?
Well, we just did.
All right.
I just
You
don't,
heard what
yeah,
I said.
yeah, I just don't
So
know
you're
where
looking
the
for
fire
two to
folks are
okay.
with that.
All right, so that's good.
And if I may, yeah, I would like to really do whatever I gotta do to get in front of the right people to educate them on what this project is gonna be versus what the stereotypes and misconceptions of a larger development are. I mean, I think that's key. We're encouraging home ownership, we're encouraging vibrancy and bringing, tax revenue to the town. And not, that's what it is, it's reality.
And your suggestion about the businesses, I mean, that would be a great thing to discuss, that if you're gonna have potentially whatever.
Yeah.
12 retail spaces, what does the community?
That,
And
Is it
that
me?
also
Is
could
it
be,
retail?
that also could be subject to an entirely separate thing down the line as you get closer to finalizing because as we've discussed previously, right, it's premature to start talking to any businesses. You don't even have a schematic.
Right.
And you don't own it.
gonna go down that rabbit hole for what
Okay.
at this point?
But you
Right,
put the
but a
feelers up.
community engagement exercise later,
What would you like to see?
Soliciting input from the community.
Yes.
is what it is. It's not
yes.
talking to the retail. people.
I'll throw this out. Since we're talking 6:30, which is a major project, we're starting to get some movement on 929.
Okay,
Is it time to, not saying bring in John Gumpert, but at least have us prepared to give where we currently are on that, because you're talking those 2 mills right there, and everything is in the middle. Because people are they've been seeing that, they've been.
Do you mean as a part of this upcoming presentation?
I
Yeah,
think it's
I
a
can,
little-
I can give a synopsis there.
It's
I
a
can
little-
Yeah.
totally give a
And I
synopsis
think
there.
we should do that to say, yes, we're moving. We got the Brownsfield, we're finishing up where we need to go. That's gonna go out to bid. As you can see, they started the cleaning. Now we got this other part. Pieces are coming together.
I
Yeah.
agree. Is there?
And it's been a while since we've talked about 929 with the public,
Right.
but at least have a little bit of input into that.
Yeah, I can totally take a few minutes to do that piece. It's easy peasy.
One thing I do with the telecommittee, I'm gonna be out of state for both of these dates, so. I'm sorry. Otherwise, I'd be happy to support it.
As far as the presentation is concerned, you know, I have a vision of doing, you know, a really, really solid presentation where, you know, there's renderings, there's a video that's showcasing the town, like the beauty of the town now. But then it transitions to this site and how this site is just like an eyesore and this site needs to be done. Once this site gets developed and now it shows, you know, kids visiting their grandparents that live in Thompson now, and want to go downtown to the Mill District, and they want to go and have fun and stuff like that. Like, I've got some ideas, and I've got a really good team to be able to do that. You know, some really good like videography and stuff like that. You'd be surprised what effects can do these days. You know, especially when you have like, you know, what was the mill site? Because I have pictures of what it used to be. So it was like this, you know, I show the workers and all this stuff, and then, you know, just kind of what it is now and then what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's like one, you know,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Then, and that's part of the stuff that you and I
Yeah.
will work on over the
Yeah.
next couple of weeks
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking a lot.
I stay up at night. I'm like, my fiance is like, what are you doing on your phone? I'm like, I'm looking at the mill site again. She's like, go to bed. Yeah.
Get a laptop.
When's the, ask me anything.
December, the
Okay.
first Wednesday in December. And we can talk about that very briefly at the end. It's very early for
Yeah.
that, but
We all know that was the whole purpose of this committee, the building Corticelli improvement.
that's right.
Why it's going a full circle now.
It's all coming together between the Bill project and this. I mean, those are massive, you know, massive improvements, you know. I think it's pretty great.
Yeah, and we'll talk also at EDC, and I'm just saying this to the EDCers in the room, we'll talk about the presentation a little bit at EDC as well. Because in the past, we've taken a role in those presentations from that lens, right? From the, you know, hey, look, what's one of the things we've been lamenting for years? There's no inventory of storefront properties. Here are now two, one which is going to move faster. I mean, even though we're further into 929, it's such a huge project. This one's still going to move faster. So here's the opportunity to start seeing those things that make our small business community more able to thrive at a slightly higher level than the mom and pop level. So.
I think scoop, but I do want to say there is buttercup squash on the else we sell. I have never had it, but we've got a field of them, so.
Don't forget to respond to that invitation.
Ask the chair a question.
I beg your pardon?
Sure.
You gotta ask the chair first.
You have a question for him?
Okay, John.
So when the mill closed, what happened? Exactly. Like, where, like, did it just shut down?
It eventually, it did shut down, and all the equipment that was in there got bought out by companies down south, you know, North Carolina, wherever.
That would be sanitary dash, right?
No,
Uh,
Sanitary Dash is the
Belden
big mill.
Court,
He's
no.
talking Belden
No,
Court and
no,
Philly.
no.
Okay.
They made, you know, like a special cloth or whatever, because
They made thread.
Okay.
thread, yeah, but also they did some cloth, certain type of cloth too, but thing is, the part of the building, the long building, that was just one story called.
Yep.
That's where all the machines were, you know, the gears and everything. And over here, the building, I think, if I remember correctly, was roughly 5 stories, 5 stories high. That was what they call the R&D building. So whatever they were making up certain dyes or chemicals or whatever, because you know, for the treads and all of that stuff. That is the area that you would be have to be more concentrated on, okay, because of this and that. But everything that was there got bought out. It was like sold because it was Belding, Hemingway and Putnam that actually ended up owning Belding Corticelli. It was part of them. Yeah, okay, so it was intertwined.
Got it. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
So they go out of
No.
business or did they sell it? What was-
Yeah, it was, we're going back maybe 4 decades at least, when this thing's been closed, at least.
What's your recollection of this, Ken?
My uncle worked there.
Oh,
The last thing that was open was next to the road. where we did the intersection, which was the lab.
Yes,
The rest of the tower on back had been shut down. Belding, Porticelli, main office was in the Carolinas, actually Hendersonville, North Carolina. So they had all moved down there.
Okay.
They had consolidated and the place just, went
Fun
as it
fact.
went.
I
Started
moved
coming
to,
down.
I moved to town in 75, I think, and I don't remember any activity there.
Yeah, my uncle moved out, it was probably in the mid-70s.
Wow.
And went down,
Okay.
and he's still down there,
That's one time.
but that's where it ended up. But, the Historical Society has a ton of information, photos, and the same thing with the rail line that you were talking about, the trolley line.
Mhm.
They have that information. I did speak with Mark Snay, so. They're there, on Sunday mornings from 10 to noon,
Okay, good.
and everything is there, and they do have a bunch of stuff that is online as well.
Okay, yeah, for me to understand
Yeah.
I mean, I've.
And again-
We're on history, but.
Again, go back to the Echoes of Old Thompson, there's a lot of information in those 2 editions that you can pick up at the library,
That's fantastic, yeah, because I mean, we're
or buy them online.
trying to preserve as much of the historic significance as
But,
possible.
They'd be more than welcome to chat with you and go over everything and show you how it looked, et cetera.
Fantastic.
And that's the best place right now to go.
All right, sorry to take so much time.
No, that's fine.
Fun fact, I have a small collection of silk thread manufactured in the Belding Corticelli site because you can still find it at antiques fairs and antique shops throughout the region. Every time I see it, I scoop it up.
Labeled, the spools are.
The spools, yeah, are wood burned with Belding Corticelli silk on the end.
Cool.
Cool.
Right, I think we can move on to any updates on the river mill.
Why,
Oh, wait,
yes.
Brian, did you-
No.
Well, there was an email from the environmental consultant, maybe you can.
Which I don't want to paraphrase, so I'll read. So, as you know, we still don't have a contract there either, but similarly, we can get some things done, like creating bid documents, because we're so close to that point. So we have contracted with Eagle Environmental to do the hazmat abatement, so that's building materials, plan and design. So last week, and this week, I think they were in there doing gap testing because we have quite a bit done from the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, but there was always data gaps there. For example, I don't think they had tests of the roof material, which thanks to the roof caving in one section is now much easier to access. So I will read from our guy, Pete Foligno. Wanted to drop you a quick note on progress at River Mill. We have been in and out of the mill over the last 2 weeks, completing supplemental testing, reviewing the architect's drawings against existing conditions, and initiating scope development. We completed the roof testing and most of the other testing to support preparation of plans and specifications. We still need to complete the balance of the PCB testing, but we'll wait on the asbestos results before finalizing that testing, as the asbestos results may have some impact on how we approach the PCBs. We will start putting the abatement drawings together next week. I have requested the elevation drawings from John, but he has not gotten back to me. These drawings show the outside elevations of the buildings and are important to our design so we can show window abatement and other abatement work on the facades. I will follow up with him again next week. We have been coordinating access with Dino. Dino is the local property manager over there now, who lives in Thompson, I think. And yeah, and he has been very helpful. We will continue to be in and out of the building over the next several weeks until our design is complete. So that is where we are with that. The other piece, which is significant and relates to what we were talking about things needing to get wrapped up, I am strongly urging John to come to get his special permit while we have the current Planning and Zoning Commission. I do not know what will happen at the election. I don't want any room for mischief. So as soon as he's got his special permit, even if something catastrophic happens, that project is safe. So in order to do that, he's got to get something to at least Cindy by early to mid next week. I'm gonna follow up with them today to make sure that's gonna happen. Like I've spoken to John on the phone. That is supposed to be the plan, but I haven't seen it yet, so I'm gonna be nervous until I see that application come in. And again, similarly to the idea of the presentation we're gonna do, there won't be a presentation per se. The planning and zoning process is that it comes in for a public hearing, which is the equivalent of a public presentation, except at the end they vote. So in that public hearing, please, MSRAC members, and that would be the October meeting, because it would get accepted for public hearing at the September meeting, and then public hearing open and hopefully voted on in October. Please show up and give your public testimony, because like with everything else, the people who are against things are always motivated to come and ruin something. And even though the Planning and Zoning Commission knows that their role is to approve a legal application, right? That doesn't mean that there isn't room for mischief even within that process. So this is the most important project in town. Please, please come out. Oh, we will.
Usually
Oh,
the
we will.
fourth Monday of the month.
I can tell you the exact date.
Fourth Monday of the month.
It's the 22nd.
After our October meeting, so we can, like remind each other again and make sure the application was put in.
It's the 27th. I'm telling you right now, it's the 27th.
He's vice chair of the PC. John is.
I would recommend to you, that being on the planning and zoning and the vice chair, I would recommend that the group from MSRAC, you write a letter and you send it to us, as well as everybody showing up.
That's a great idea.
So, because this way we got the support of the MSRAC, because what you're doing for us, and I'm giving it to you from, as the vice chair, planning and zoning, that by doing that, this MSRAC meeting is actually the first step for everybody, even with Belton Corticelli, to come, when it comes to the planning and zoning, we can make a better decision. And then I will work on some of the commissioners, to say, listen, good project, this is what's going on. They're doing all the work for us. All we gotta do is, okay, let's listen to everybody and still make a good decision in favor of this, okay? Because that's the only way. This MSRAC, I like it. I like what you people are doing. You're getting everything together, doing the legwork, so we don't have to do it in our meetings, break up a meeting or go to a subcommittee. It's almost like having a subcommittee here for us. And I think that's a good idea, with the EDC, even the EDC should do the same thing. Whoever is the chair there, I think would be a good idea if we get that to us. And then, it's showing that all the committees and boards or whatever, are working toward a good goal for this town. That's all I gotta say.
We also, the support that we've had in the past when we started this.
Yeah.
From state DECD, the DEP, that are continuing to work, that that they're still in favor of this.
Yeah, SHPO.
Yeah, Binu and all of that, and get all that,
Yeah, so if it ends up being accepted for public hearing at the September meeting, which if all goes to plan, it will be, then I will do exactly that. I will shake the trees from the institutional side.
yeah, state historical.
Right.
Everything that's managed how we saved it to begin with.
I could try to put together maybe a draft letter of support from MSRAC, and we could discuss at our October meeting. Get some input on and get it submitted before the public hearing, but like Kira said, it's always a good idea to physically be present in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Stand up.
Madam Chair, October meeting your meeting would be after?
No,
on the-
before.
With a
October 4th, okay, but then in the October meeting, like, Ms. Kira said, if we can get this pushed through at that meeting before the election, what she just stated, and I'm on that up for re-election, but I believe, we need to do this before
Okay.
the November 4th election, because this way, like she said, once it's in place.
Nothing
can't
can
be
hurt
ta-
it.
It can't be taken back, you know, and it's a project that we need to really have, these two big projects, they're gonna be beneficial and everything, and that's my opinion. Like I said, I'll fight for that reason.
So, and then just a third thing, and this is very much a side piece on River Mill, but definitely related. So some people have noticed that 915 Riverside has had a little cleanup. I believe there is a gentleman who has a small business who's going to be doing some equipment sales in the lot there with John's permission, or with Dino's permission, I think, with the property manager. But that did start cleaning up that site. When I was talking to John about getting his application in for the big mill, I was just asking him if he knew that was going on there, and I asked him what his plans were for the building. And actually, this should make you happy, Mr. Lenke.
Oh, thank you.
And he doesn't really have a plan for it. So I had mentioned, and I know John is also interested in that building, which is really a tear down, is perfectly located to potentially activate rail access. Now Putnam has entered into some kind of regional coalition to discuss extending passenger rail up and down 395. They did not ask us to enter into that, which is fine, but we have a perfectly situated property for it. There are challenges to that line. It's only a one-way track, but I don't think that's insurmountable. And the state has, and I know you and I have talked about this, a new, it's like a quasi-state agency. I don't remember what it's actually called, but it's run by David Corus, who used to be at DECD, and it's essentially a transit-oriented development, redevelopment agency, where if the town through the select board opts into the program, they will advise you on how to optimize your regulatory structure, your planning for transit core revitalization. And they intentionally made it so that small towns could opt in. In other words, it's not just for the places where there is already rail. They are interested in helping expand that across the state. So David Corus and I have had a very brief email chat. Unlike all these other things, this is something that I would push to the next select board, because it would be sort of a way for them to enter in fresh with this, with the sort of goodwill of the election behind them, into this partnership with this quasi-public agency to start examining how to look at that next phase of redevelopment. And so John was very interested in the idea. It's way on his back burner, but as a potential use for that property, I think it's excellent.
There is in the planner's office somewhere in your files, when Kevin Kennedy was here. It goes back. We had talked about buildings here. There was, I think, 3 places to train station. That paperwork is, design is all there.
I will take a look.
So it'll give us a start on looking at them.
That is good to know.
That was back in the 70s.
No, that was in
Kevin Kennedy was here
2011?
in the early aughts because,
I mean, P&W had,
no, the project that we had done looking at rail
Oh,
for passenger. Mary Ann came on
after Kevin.
it was before John Gustaw, it was after John Gustowski and before Mary Ann, when Kevin was here. But we did a project on it, looking at, that same time when the elevator and the handicap, all of that stuff was being done. So there is that packet in there somewhere.
Yeah, her name is Kelsey.
Good place to start.
All right.
She's very
Sure. I guess we can move on our agenda to any kind of other updates. For example, the deep grant or the student project. Could we do a student project?
We ended up not, Ken did give me some some information, but it just wasn't enough for me to put something together. However, we are attached to the Yukon Clear LID student project. So Joe Tasic and I have a con call with a student team for next week to look at more opportunities for MS4 disconnection,
Oh, great.
which is good. We won't hear anything about the 319 grant at least until the end of the month, if not later. We'll see how that goes. I do feel like there was something else, and I feel like I mentioned it at the beginning of the. Oh, no,
So we didn't get anything in for that,
For this-
Lillian app.
we did not. We did not. I just there.
No, I'm just asking.
I just didn't have enough to work with. But thank you for putting that together for me. Just know that there was something and it is not coming to me, but that's okay,
It'll come to you. You said-
At the end of.
probably.
As soon as we say motion to adjourn. Okay, any other new committee business? Oh, well, you did ask me to put on the agenda, the community day.
Oh, and now I know what it was. Not just Community Day, by the way, but let's start with that. And it's all related. So Community Day is coming up on October 4th. A few things about that. Rec got a late start on it because of the budget nonsense. There was actually some point at which it was in question whether it was even going to be possible to have it. But they are. And obviously you guys, well, Robert doesn't know because he's not from here. It's exactly what it says it is, right? Community Day, and there's the civic booths. I would encourage EDC and MSRAC to have a joint presence there, exactly so we can prime the pump on these projects. To have the sort of the foam core boards to be able to discuss casually, you know, what's the value, to get people interested that we might not be able to capture in other ways. So that was the Community Day piece. And the piece that I knew we mentioned was the Ask Me Anything. And this is more of just a save the date in your heads. You guys might remember we did one a few years ago. It was actually like 2 weeks before COVID shut everything down. It was in March of 20. So the first Wednesday in December, we're going to do it again. And we're actually doing it as a tie-in to the America 250 activities. It's a late addition to the calendar. I had been on that committee on and off for a couple of reasons. Oh, were we going to be able to write any grants? Well, nothing was really grantable. I was going to try to arrange for a lecture and debate series. That proved a little too daunting. But, you know, what partly prompted it for me was this past budget season. And if you look at online commentary, it is 100% clear that if not a majority, a plurality of residents do not know how these processes work. They have no idea. And that lack of understanding leads to anxiety, which leads to hostility, which leads to being vulnerable to really bad arguments. So in the interest of, you know, celebrating the 250th anniversary isn't just about celebrating colonists shooting the British. It's about what arose from that, which is still a radical experiment in self-governance. But if people don't understand how the self-governance works, the experiment fails. So the Ask Me Anything is the informal, do that, come in, ask staff or committee, board members, whatever questions you have. And then that is going to lead into what we wanted it to lead into the last time, but COVID made it impossible, a Citizens Academy. I have purchased the Citizens Academy guidebook from the University of North Carolina. That will be a follow-up sort of deep dive. It'll be a series of weeks, and we'll design that Citizens Academy based partly on questions that come out of the Ask Me Anything, to try to cultivate the next crop of volunteers and candidates, because every town everywhere struggles with finding new people to come and take that on. So you get disproportionately older elected boards and appointed commissions. Not that there is anything wrong with people of a certain age being on anything, but if it's always only your oldest community members, you are missing a huge fraction of your population and the population that has the greatest stake in the future. So that is the goal. And so for this purposes of this, just sort of keep in the back of your minds, it's going to be the first Wednesday of December at the library. Each committee and commission and board is going to be asked to have at least one person there and include, in addition to somebody from each department in the town. But more is merrier, and we'll be promoting it coming up. So those are the two things. Community Day, I'd like to see MSRAC and EDC have a joint table there. And maybe, Robert, we can talk about you being a part of that as well. Yeah, and Ask Me Anything in December. Those are my extras.
I can definitely be at the Ask Me Anything in the first Wednesday of December, but I'm gonna be out of state on October 4th, so I am gonna ask for volunteers, like, what would be needed? Just volunteers just to show up? Will there be any tables, or do they bring their own pop-up tents?
See a pop-up
We
that's-
can arrange for those things. Most of the organizations that sign up are signing up to, for example, promote a nonprofit or a small business. So they're bringing their own tables. We can generally find some pop-ups and tables. Again, the stagecraft of it, the making of the renderings. I can do some of that. I have a small office budget to get stuff mounted on phone core or whatever,
I'll
but
be there all day anyway.
yeah.
Okay, so is there any other volunteers to man the booth at Community Day on October 4th, just to answer questions on 630 Rivermill or grants or sidewalks or Main Street?
You can all send that to me individually as an email.
Okay, well, that's great. So Steve said he'd check his calendar. I know he's soft-spoken. It might not make it into the minutes, so I reiterate. Steve might be.
I mean, I'm willing to.
Thank you. That would be helpful because you have a lot of information on one particularly important project. And of course, Ken knows a lot about all the other ones, so.
Obviously, I'll be there, but from the organizers and with responsibilities with other organizations, I can't promise where I'll. put that.
Okay, well, that's great.
I'll be floating,
Okay,
but I'll be.
Yeah,
around.
there's
Okay.
a few of us who are going to be in
Yeah.
that position. Like, obviously, I'm advisory staff to this commission and EDC, but I'm also on the organizing committee and blah, 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 I end up getting pulled in directions.
well, that would be great and appreciated. Anybody have any other new committee business or anything else we should discuss?
Did we square away the minutes?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I had stepped out to
That's
put
right.
the-
Yes.
the bills aside, so I missed it. Just
Okay.
wanted to make sure.
Passed unanimously. Joanne didn't find any problems.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you for your support, Joanne.
Yeah, well, I just need to get a good link every month so I can just sign into Zoom easier.
Okay, so no, hearing no other things, I have a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Second. All adjourned, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone.
Okay.
Take care, everyone.
10 o'clock on the nose. Look at that.
I believe that I am gonna be back for our meeting in October. Is it like the 9th? 'Cause I'm
The
coming
12th.
back In October, our MSRAC.
Yeah, I just looked. It's
Okay,
12.
I'll definitely be back for that.
Yeah.